Now, obviously, moving on to the co-main event here, we have Kelvin Gastelum taking on Darren Till. Darren Till obviously walked away with the victory on a split decision. I thought it was a weird scoring to end it. A 30-27 both
Right.
ways. Somehow,
And
two judges saw each individual fighter win every round, and then a 29-28 deciding victory for Darren Till. What were your takeaways from the actual
Yeah.
fight itself before we get into
so
the card?
what you just mentioned though, like about
Yep.
the judging,
Yeah.
we saw that in maybe another fight or two
We did.
in the card
It
where it
happened
was
many
like
times.
a few of the decisions were like
Blagoy
how
versus
yeah.
Garrick, we're going to get into
How
soon.
how do you make those calculations? Anyways, the fight itself, Kelvin, I expected more. I'm not gonna lie. I totally had I didn't put money, but if I did, I would have probably put them on Gastelum in advance because of the impression I was left with after his fight with Israel. He really brought it in that fight, and I feel like he didn't bring it to this fight as much. And I think he was like way too short. He couldn't like get in, like cut that distance. He couldn't get in. He's striking like he didn't excel in anything. Me and Mike were reviewing some positions before the podcast where Kelvin could have capitalized on a few positions from the
Third
wrestling
round,
and
first
jiu-jitsu.
takedown where Darren Till was trying to stand back up and basically gave up his back to any Brazilian jiu. I
Right.
think I don't practice BJJ, but you do. What level does it take of BJJ when a guy has his back turned like that to you to try to sink some hooks and
I
make
mean,
something happen?
definitely should have tried to capitalize. He just
It was
kept
the end of the fight, and then my view, and I think your view as well, he was already losing that fight.
yeah, yeah.
All the leg
absolutely.
kicks from the first round
Yeah.
really slowed him down, and we just saw Darren Till being very comfortable, making his debut at 185.
Yeah, my only concern was Kelvin probably finishing Till at some point, with a freak punch
Right.
or maybe ground and pound or something
Darren
like
was
that.
super reserved.
But he was,
He-
and that's
like-
something that Darren talked about before the fight, right? You mentioned that to me that he was kind of like anxious and
Yep. Right before he came out in the tunnel, I don't know if you guys saw it. Go check it out if you haven't. Darren Till cited that he was terrified before going out there, and it crossed his mind. Not that he's saying that he was going to, but it crossed his mind to fake an injury and say that he can't go out there. I mean, he's coming off of two devastating losses after feeling like he was quote unquote invincible. Those are his words, not mine. And for him to come out and have this type of a performance, debuting in the middleweight division, this is his weight class. This is his natural weight to fight at. He should never have been cutting the 170. Kelvin Gastelum made a 170 to a 185 jump himself. And we've seen it have results where he's gone and fought for an interim title against Israel. He was in line to fight Robert, but
yeah.
my question to you is, where does Kelvin go from here? Is he going to get back to the top of the mountain to fight for a championship ever again?
That's a hard question.
It is a very difficult question.
We said that he doesn't excel in anything, right? He doesn't excel. He's not
Jack
like
of all trades and a master of none.
correct. So he's tough, right? He's tough. That's
Right.
one. His toughness is kind of like persistence going forward. We saw a little bit against Darren Till, but he was like looking very out of place as well.
Right.
Like he couldn't find that rhythm, whatever. So yeah, I mean, I don't see him like drastically falling in the rankings and like disappearing like in a year or two. I think he's gonna hang around for a little while. He's gonna be one of those guys, maybe kind of like the Mike Bisping type of. Maybe I don't know if it's a good comparison, but like he's gonna be there in the top 5, in the top 7 for a while, and but I don't honestly though I don't see him winning the championship ever.
I don't think we're going to see him. I think he might fight for a title one more time if he does that.
Possibly.
I don't think he will, but I'm not going to say it's out of question that he'll fight again. But we also could be looking at like a Volkan Ozdemir where you were taking advantage of a period of time where that might be just slipping away.
And the right opponents for a little while and this and that, and then
100%.
yeah,
And being opportunistic is part of this game. And
of course.
your opportunity to fight Robert was unfortunately taken away. You had to fight Israel instead, and you took the L. You lost to Darren Till, so it's now back to the drawing board. He says he's going to make a lot of changes. We will see what those changes are.
Sure.
Now, in the third to last fight that was on, this was an amazing, epic striking battle between Steven Wonderboy Thompson and Vicente the Silent Assassin Luque. What were some of your takeaways from quite the display from Steven Thompson reclaiming his stake at saying I'm a top 5 fighter. I'm a guy who can contend for the title in the middleweight division.
I expected a lot more from Luque based on his last few fights. I thought he was very aggressive. I thought that even though his Muay Thai, his kickboxing was a lot more conservative or standard than Stephen Thompson's striking.
Forgive me, 170, so it's welterweight.
Right, it was welterweight.
Right.
So I don't like I said, I expected more, but I don't dude, once they faced off, the difference in striking was so apparent that I feel a little dumb for like thinking otherwise. But again, Stephen Thompson, I think, looked exceptionally well, like even beyond what it usually looks like. Maybe because of his last loss.
Right.
And Luque, he's great. He's great. He can take a punch. Tough as
he's tough as nails, man.
Yeah.
He took a lot of damage in that fight, and like that would discourage a lot of people. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson's got a different repertoire when it comes to striking. That side kick to the face was amazing. I've never seen guys dap each other's fists so many times in a fight in my life. I think it was 4 of them, and they were all on the heels of Stephen Thompson knocking him down.
Yeah. That's true, because he gave him a few really good push kicks that were like timed perfectly. And he just like pretty much knocked him over. I don't know, man. I feel like.
By the way, you look at the total strikes,
yeah,
guys. Every single strike from both guys were significant strikes.
That's right.
That's a war.
That's insane.
That's crazy.
Huh.
That's a war right there, man. Yeah. And another knockdown for Stephen Thompson, by the way. He's got now 10 knockdowns in the welterweight division. Yeah. That's good for top 3 all time. He's really knocks a lot of dudes down, sits them on their ass.
Fucking, I don't know. Thompson's coming into his own, even though he got knocked out last time around by Pettis, which I totally didn't expect, and I'm still kind of like, how the fuck did that happen? Although I'm not taking anything away from Pettis, obviously, but still, you guys probably agree with me that it was a little shocking. But in any terms, I think Stephen Thompson looked amazing. I think if he keeps like that kind of form for a little while. Actually, one thing I want to say here is I think Stephen Thompson should probably fight soon. I don't want to see him wait too long. I think
he's 37.
Yeah, exactly. He's 37. I think he was fairly unscathed, like untouched in this fight.
Oh, very much so.
I don't think he got any major.
26 strikes to the head, 42 to the legs. So majority of the strikes were to the legs.
Yeah.
That's completely different than obviously getting hit to the head. And
right.
I mean, he dished out 111 to Vicente Luque's head, so that's a lot of striking. He cited talking about his hands were feeling a little bit warped after hitting Vicente Luque so many times in the head. He said his head was really hard.
So his knuckle was like literally moved back at the press conference. He showed that.
Right.
But hey, that's something I think he can heal from fairly quickly.
Yes, 100%.
And in a few months, maybe 5-6 months, something like that at most, we can probably see him fight again.